For the first time this season, the Rowdy Energy Cup Series leaves the state of Florida and heads out west, this time to Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada, here for round number 4 of the 2021 Rowdy Energy Cup Series season right here on ESPN. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for tuning in here tonight. Making our reappearance on Twitch after quite a while being off of the platform. We are back on Twitch, no longer on Facebook Live. You can still find the YouTube link to this very broadcast on YouTube, or on Facebook rather, as we get set to go for tonight. Sam Cooper Bennett should be here fairly soon as we get ready to go here for what is going to be a fun and exciting round number 4, as we've got just a shade over 2.5 minutes to go here in this qualifying, in this practice session, pardon me. Tony Ball picking up right where he's left off these last couple of weeks at the top of the timing pylon at a 30.05. However, there are a couple of guys that are very, very, very close to him. Connor Trafari is only about 100th of a second off. Cedric Hunter the same. Aaron Tribble the same. Zach Bowerman in that number 9. John Deere Ford just clipping the wall going into turn 1, something that's going to be incredibly easy to do. Over the course of the race, came home third last week. Javon Cherry making his return to the series after missing Homestead last week. Currently sat in the 6th position on the timing and scoring pylon. But let's take a quick look now. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the standings coming into tonight's race, as Tony Ball, as you could imagine, has taken a pretty healthy lead in the championship standings after winning both rounds 2 and round 3. Cedric Hunter, after 2 podium finishes, jumps up into 2nd. Greg McConey in 3rd. Christian Vasquez, with his poor performance last week, falls down 2 positions from 2nd all the way to 4th. But you can tell there is not much in it, mainly because it is early days here in this season as we go through the rest of the championship standings. And also to note here tonight, again, this is going to be the first of several D-shaped ovals that these guys will go to this season, as we'll take now a quick look at the team championship. As with the great finish last week, with the win last week, Dream Team Incorporated at the top of the standings. Stryker Autosport there as well. Dudes Racing making a climb. Golden State Racing with the addition of Zach Bowerman after both the Smiths were removed, losing a spot into 4th position in standings. Triple Motorsports, Horizon Motorsports, both moving up. Mauler, Jawbone, and Artificial Autosport Inc., both not having any representation during the last race, as we get set now to go into the qualifying session here for tonight's round number 4 of this season. And with that, we will begin with the man who put it 2nd in practice. That is the 48 of Connor Trafari. Jeff Price on track, Aaron Tribble on track, Mark McFadden on track as well. Ryan Worley just getting into pit road. Same thing with Elijah Innes just getting into pit road. Aaron Tribble actually is the first one, the furthest one along in that number 22. And if you'll bear with me for just 1 second here, hold on one quick moment as we Just have to make one quick little adjustment here. Back, there we are. Aaron Tribble in that number 22. Trust me, there he is. As Tribble will be the first one to cross the line and set a time in that number 22. Jeff Price, however, in the number 14, is the quickest of the lot thus far at a 30.50. A lot of the heavy hitters now starting to get on track. Tony Ball about to start his first lap. Jeff Price, fastest of all in the first half of the lap. Second half of the lap should improve his qualifying time, and does. It's a 30.17 for Jeff Price, so he will stay on the pole. As we'll get a look now at the number 13 of Cedric Hunter. Hunter fastest of all in the first half of the lap. And Hunter will jump from 6th up to the pole with a 30.14. Look now at the points leader, Tony Ball in that number 8. Penn National Gaming Ford. Set a personal best in the first half of the lap, did not jump up to purple, as Tony will jump from 9th up into the 2nd position. So Tony Ball will miss out on pole this week. First time he's missed out on a pole award since the Daytona 500. Logan Jones now about to cross the line to complete his second lap. Jones' first lap put him into 10th. Second lap will move him up into 7th, so not a bad lap by the pilot of the number 23. Brandon Wilson in the 501. Cotton Candy, Rowdy Energy, Chevrolet. Coming through turn 4. Again, Wilson 10th currently. And this lap will jump him up into the 8th position. So a little bit of a gain there. Greg McConey jumping up into 4th position. So another nice run there. As now Landon Lacey, a little bit of a different look for Landon Lacey this week. Lacey moving from the 35, the first couple races of the season, now in the number 53. And Lacey will jump from 13th up to 6th. So a lot of close qualifiers here. Jason Papp puts it in 14th position on the first lap. There's only 30 seconds to go here in this qualifying session, so whoever's on the lap now will get one in. Javon Cherry goes 14th on his first lap. Scott Warren out on track as well. Warren jumps up to P9 on his first lap. Here comes Jason Papp. Papp crosses the line, and he is going to jump up to 10th. So a good lap for Papp. Here comes J.D. Woodward. Coming off of turn 4 across the line, Woodward into 9th. Javon Cherry crossing the line at the death, and Cherry will jump up to 4th. So a nice qualifying run and just able to get the lap in, something that Scott Warren cannot say. Did not get the second lap in, did the Daytona 500 winner. So with that, we will now take you to the grid for round number 4. It'll be Cedric Hunter taking the pole award away from Tony Ball this week at a dead even time between the two. But because Cedric Hunter said it first, it goes to him. Jeff Price and Javon Cherry will roll off in row number 2. Row 3 goes to Greg McConey and Connor Trafari. Landon Lacey and Aaron Tribble make up row number 4. Row 5 going to Zach Bowerman and J.D. Woodward. Row 6 to the Daytona 500 winner Scott Warren and Jason Papp will roll off in the 12th position. Row 7 will go to Logan Jones and Brandon Wilson. Row 8 You'll find Ryan Worley and Shane Posey, Elijah Innes and Mark McFadden make up row 9. Joe Gautier and Christian Vasquez will roll off in row number 10. Nicholas Wing and Cruz Hernandez Jr. will make up row 11. And Ben Bando, sneaking in at the death, will round out the field in 23rd position in row number 12. So a very fun race expected here tonight. This is a racetrack that is about as loose as they come. The middle and outside lines will be key here, much in the same way they were last week at Homestead. This is a place that favors the middle to outside line. And also worth noting that this will be the last time this series will run with the current build. There is a major iRacing update coming tomorrow, the big Week 13 update. As we had discussed last week on the broadcast, we know for certain that Hockenheim, the Hockenheim Ring in Germany, has been announced. An update for the super late models, free if you already own the car. A couple of damage model upgrades to the IR01 and the 1987 stock cars, as well as Bristol Dirt has been confirmed for this next build. So that will be available for these guys to run at the end of next month, if they so choose. But as we get ready to go here for round number 4, it has been Tony Ball and Cedric Hunter these last couple of weeks that have dominated these races. Javon Cherry sat in second the entirety of the road course race at Daytona, round number 2. We'll see if he can get a position better starting from 4th. The pace truck is off. We are about to go green flag racing here for round number 4 of the 2021 Rowdy Energy Cup Series season. 120 laps. We're green at Vegas. Good, clean getaway there from the 13. Tony Ball using that outside to his advantage. We saw Connor Trafari in the number 48 hit the wall coming out of turn 4. Something that's going to be very easy to do as Greg McConey gets onto the apron and down low. And in the back of the field, Cruz Hernandez Jr. goes around. That's Elijah Innes as well. They're both off of the racetrack. And as we had mentioned, this is one of the big components of this racetrack, is it is going to be loose the entire way through. As back up to the front here, we have a big battle for the race lead as, boy, the 53 of Lacey getting loose and into the outside wall. The top 3 running away with it now. Tony Ball and Javon Cherry working the outside with Cedric Hunter at the disadvantage on the inside. Then just a little bit further back is Tony Ball, I believe, clipped that lap. Further back, J.D. Woodward, Jeff Price, Scott Warren, Landon Lacey. All in a close battle. This just outside the top 10. Or pardon me, just outside the top 5. Cedric Hunter hanging on really strong at the bottom of the racetrack, trying to keep the 8 and the 20 at bay. Javon Cherry has gotten onto the back bumper of Tony Ball and has not let go. And if I saw that message right, I believe Javon Cherry won an NIS race here last night. know Tony Ball puts in his practice over the course of the week, and now he's going to try to get down to the inside. Look at Aaron Tribble sticking his nose in there. Zach Bowerman now has caught up to this group. This is a big battle in the top 5 for the race lead here as Cedric Hunter and Tony Ball switch spots from inside to outside. Tony just cannot get the run on the inside that Cedric Hunter can on the outside as we ride on board with the Riverview, Florida native. And boy, look at Aaron Tribble just fly by on the outside. And that's the disadvantage of being on the inside line. It's okay to run. If you have nobody to your outside, but if there is somebody out there, it's not the preferred lane. Side by side for the race lead, Aaron Tribble and Cedric Hunter, and Tribble on the outside takes the race lead away from the 13. So Aaron Tribble, and if you've been watching over these last couple of weeks, both in the Rowdy Energy Cup Series and in the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series, Aaron Tribble has had one heck of a run of luck and a run of great performances here lately. It's only a matter of time before he finds victory lane in one of these two series. Currently leading on lap 9 of 120 here tonight as we look a little bit further back as the battle for second now rages on between the 13, the 8, and the 9. Zach Bowerman has that preferred lane on the outside. Look at Scott Warren also working his way up through the field. Warren up 5 positions from where he had started tonight. Warren on the outside of Javon Cherry. Battle for the 5th position there, side by side. The two cars that are ahead of this group here, Elijah Innes and Cruz Hernandez Jr. Those guys involved in the accident on lap 2. Just a big pack of cars here, all running very, very close to each other. And this is about time where you're going to see who was saving their stuff and who was really pushing, because the back end of this car is about to really come loose for these drivers. As Tony Ball now just having to let off from taking it 3 wide on Cedric Hunter. Scott Warren tried to show the nose on Zach Bowerman in the 9, just couldn't commit. Now trying to make it 3 wide. Oh, no, Tony had gotten clear. Still side by side here in the mid-pack. This is a battle for 3rd. Tony Ball, Zach Bowerman, Scott Warren, Javon Cherry, Landon Lacey, J.D. Woodward, Greg McConey, all in this. Tony has the advantage for right now, but just behind them is boy Scott Warren showing the pace in that This Is War number 76 Ford. On the inside, able to really make a move. Up 6 spots from where he started is the driver of the number 76 from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Just about has Landon Lacey clear, and does have Landon Lacey clear. Back up at the front of the field, that is Aaron Tribble coming incredibly close to getting taken out by Elijah Innes, who has already been taken out once in this race and now finds himself a lap down to the leaders. Elijah Innes, the only driver 1 lap down. So if a caution were to come out here, he would be the lucky dog recipient, as now Cedric Hunter takes to the outside of young Aaron Tribble. Tony getting a little snap of oversteer coming out of turn 2. Really had to catch it. Looking back, a battle for the 4th position. Javon Cherry and J.D. Woodward battling for 7th. Woodward's going to try to take that momentum to the inside of Landon Lacey in the 53. Right there, instead he's got Javon Cherry under him. Oh, and there's a contact between Woodward and Cherry. Cherry is around in the apron. Oh, and that's a lot of damage on that number 20. And that's another risk of running the inside line. Just in case something does happen. Take a look and see what happened. It just looked like the 11 got loose off the corner here. We're actually a little bit further away. My apologies. Let's see, it's probably already happened here. Oh yeah, just coming off the wall. Javon hit that wall incredibly hard on the inside. Again, far enough off the racing surface, no caution called. Cedric Hunter has taken a little bit of a lead now, a little bit more than a half a second as Aaron Tribble tries to fight Tony Ball for the 2nd position. Tony just does get clear of Aaron Tribble. Right behind them, Landon Lacey getting the 4th position away from Scott Warren in the 76. Warren, the only other driver to win a race this year. You can see Tribble getting loose. Donning Timmy Hills, number 66 on the car this week. Normally there's a 22 on the side of his car. Zach Bowerman trying to take over that 3rd position, which is where he finished last week. And Bowerman still trying to fight on that inside. Not able to complete a pass just yet. Take a look at Greg McConey now trying to get around Elijah Innes. Oh, there goes Lacey around. There goes Tribble as well in the grass. And that's what we were talking about. These cars are so incredibly loose. Nice save by Aaron Tribble, and we stay green. Definitely go back. Oh, that looked like Lacey actually pushed up just a little bit. Clipped Tribble. Wonderful save by the 66 of Tribble. And if you're surprised by that save, you should see the one he made Friday night in the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. That one was an all-timer. Battle for the lead is a brewing. As Cedric Hunter has been steadily losing time to the 8 of Tony Ball, and this is where Tony has been so strong. This season is on these longer runs, and these two together have pulled out a 2.7 second gap over Scott Warren now, who currently occupies the 3rd position. That mostly due to the Tribble and Lacey contact, as now Tony will take the lead on that inside line. He will have the lap led. He will not have the move cleared, but he does have the lap led. Still side by side, and this just shows the power of the outside, and Tony really having to fight that car on the inside lane coming out of turn 2. As these two continue what has been a titanic battle between these two all race long. Look a little bit further back, however, and it's a hornet's nest. From third on back, Scott Warren in third position. Connor Trafari trying to make up some of the ground he lost early. Ben Bando, after starting stone dead last in that number 2 Hulu Ford, up inside the top 10 with that pass on Trafari. Now trying to work on Landon Lacey in the 53. He'll get to that outside. Will he take it? No, he does not. Ben Bando has really been moving up in that number 2. So, same with Christian Vasquez. Up 8 spots from where he started. Same as Logan Jones, same as Scott Warren. Logan Jones is inside the top 10 now, as a matter of fact, as well. Starting in the 13th position in that number 23. Logan has been smooth sailing here as Cedric Hunter and Tony Ball still continue to fight. They're still opening up ever so slightly, still opening up a gap to the rest of the field. Just shy of 3 seconds, the gap between Tony and Scott Warren. As these two just seem to have this circuit dialed in right now. As we look back now, Ben Bando has made the pass on Landon Lacey. Now trying to get to Ryan Worley in the 00, and Bando is one of these guys that is actually making that inside line work. 3 passes we've seen him make have all been made on that inside line. And now he will set his sights on the number 11 of J.D. Woodward. Christian Vasquez trying to follow him right through. Javon Cherry has been in the pits since that incident and has not returned to the racetrack just yet. And it doesn't look like he will, as boy, the 11 gets a big loose snap there coming off of turn 4. That's going to allow the 2 to the inside. And pretty academic from there. Ben Bando now up 16 spots after starting 23rd and last on the field. Moving up quite nicely. The only other driver that is officially out of this race is Cruz Hernandez Jr. We saw what happened to him on lap number 2. Things starting to get spread out at the top just a little bit. Cedric Hunter and Tony Ball, however, are as close as they can be. Battling each other side by side. And the Ada Ball has that momentum around the outside now. Should be able to clear, theoretically should be able to clear, and will be able to clear. Coming out of turn number 4. Turn number 4. I was right. So that is the battle for the lead now sorted. Landon Lacey now being passed up by Christian Vasquez, who's working his way through the field nicely in that number 86. Trying to follow his teammate in the number 2 along, and you can see that front end damage on the corner of Landon Lacey's car. That from the contact with Aaron Tribble earlier on. You can see that car wiggling coming out of turn 2, and you're going to be seeing that wiggle all race long out of these guys, especially coming off of 2. Is the worst part of the racetrack for that. It's not just because of the track temperature, which is at 102 degrees right now. It also is very much just how these cars handle. It's a lot worse on the inside line, which is why you see these guys favoring the outside as compared to the inside. Zach Bowerman and Logan Jones set to have a battle here for the 4th position. Both of them running a similar line. Greg McConey still just hanging out. As we work lap number 36, Tony Ball currently your race leader, with Cedric Hunter right behind. And this is the first time that Tony has been able to actually get into the lead and keep it tonight. This has been a far cry from the last 2 races. He has had to work tonight through the first 30 some odd laps. Dream Team Incorporated teammate, now newly minted Dream Team Incorporated teammate, Christian Vasquez, still trying to work now against Ryan Worley. As Landon Lacey has made a move around J.D. Woodward and is starting to run away. Closest battle on track here for multiple positions is what you see on your screen right now. It's a battle for the 9th position. Vasquez will make the pass on Worley and now set his sights on the outside line against J.D. Woodward and should be able to make that move stick, and does. And he is now clear. Aaron Tribble, who we saw have that incident on lap number 20, coming to 21, almost pretty much 20 laps from that incident, has now worked his way up into the 14th position, and that is Connor Trafari. In front of him, looking for 13th, is the young Trafari. Pardon me, is the young Tribble. Starting tonight, you can find us now no longer on Facebook Live, but you can find us on Twitch now. There is the URL to our Twitch channel on the screen that just disappeared. So if you'd be kind, give us a follow on Twitch as well, as we try to grow that platform into something bigger and just as competitive as Aaron Tribble takes over the 13th position. Greg McConey now has gotten around Logan Jones for the 5th position. We'll see what happened there. Gets a run off the outside line. And as we've seen all night long, high line works. You get that momentum on the high line. It's another thing that's rumored to be a part of this iRacing update that comes out tomorrow afternoon. Something that iRacing fans have been screaming about for over 450 days now, and that is the addition of multi-groove racing. It was previously implemented but did not work to iRacing's and the user's satisfactory. They took it out and have reworked it to the point where it's rumored that they feel comfortable releasing it again. And again, this update coming out tomorrow, so this will affect the Western States Racing League race tomorrow night from Lucas Oil Raceway. formerly ORP, the O'Reilly Raceway Park, formerly the Indianapolis Raceway Park. Christian Vasquez just refusing to let Landon Lacey alone. Ben Bando has stalled out. About a second behind Logan Jones is where he has stalled out. We're still about 20 laps away from pit stops. Here in what should yet again be just a one-stop race. A little bit further ahead, Scott Warren about to start coming under fire from Zach Bowerman. Greg McConey in that battle as well. It's battle for the third position, and as we had mentioned, Cedric Hunter has not left Tony Ball alone. He still has not. He is keeping very close tabs on that number 8 up here at the front. That gap, by the way, last time we had checked on it, it was about 3 seconds. It just got to 3 seconds. It has about doubled in that time. 5.5 seconds between the top 2 and third and fourth. And when these two start battling, that gap is going to one increase, and that's also going to allow Greg McConey here in the 12 to get into the fight. Ben Bando has found another bit of speed, as you just saw those guys pass. Getting up to Logan Jones in the 23. Ensuing battle for the 6th position right now between these two. Landon Lacey and Ryan Worley doing battle as these three guys have maintained pretty close quarters. As now here comes Landon Lacey into pit road. So green flag pit stops here have started, as Landon Lacey is the first one to come in, as Elijah Innes appears to have had an issue. There's Elijah down there in the infield, trying to get that car turned around. And again, because the car is so far off of the racing surface, no caution has been called. We have not seen a caution since the green-white checkered at Daytona. And he will make it into pit road, Will Innes, going yet another lap down. Javon Cherry no longer participating in tonight's race as well after his run-in. With Landon Lacey earlier on tonight. Scott Warren now starting to lose positions in that number 76, and boy, you could tell why right there. Gets really loose behind the 12 of Greg McConey. Just a little bit further back, there's the move for the 6th position. Ben Bando trying to get around Logan Jones, and does successfully. Again, the last time this series has seen a caution flag was the last green-white checkered attempt at the Daytona 500. Since then, I mean, no cautions on the road course. Last week at Homestead was caution-free. And this week so far has been caution-free as well, as J.D. Woodward getting a big run, getting into the back of the one, as a matter of fact. Woodward is one of the guys that has come into pit already, came into pit on lap 41. Getting into the back of the one with that run. J.D. Woodward, again, this is not for position for the 11. This is him trying to get back track position after coming into pit. However, this is for position for the three guys on the outside of him. Mark McFadden in the 71, Shane Posey in the 83, and Jason Papp in the 1, Joe Gautier in the 67. At the back of this quartet, also a part of this battle. In what would be a battle for the 13th position. It's the 90 of Nicholas Wing these guys are about to catch. As Posey gets around McFadden. McFadden now trying to slide in behind him and does successfully. McFadden and Posey do get out side by side. There's Nicholas Wing in the 90 just in front of these guys in that Circuit City number 90, that old Hutch Strickland Circuit City. Boy, he's been throwing it back to the late 90s. That would have been 97 Hutch Strickland on that Circuit City Ford. Oh, and McFadden coming into pit road almost slides and loses it. Scott Warren into pit road as well in the 76. So leaders are starting to come in here just shy of halfway. Here are the two race leaders, and again, these two have not left each other alone at all here tonight. Cedric Hunter, what a big slide there, coming out at 2 by the 8, and that's going to give the 13 a big run. And Hunter goes to the inside and will take the race lead away from Tony Ball. And that's just that snap of oversteer that you get. And Tony, that was the one we were looking for. Tony, you can see how much he's having to work that wheel, and that's not just him, that's everybody is having to work the wheel that way. See, almost dirt tracking this thing. He is dirt tracking it now, having to turn right to go left. Just a lot of steering input and a lot of small steering input. See him, how hard he's got to work inside of that car just to get it around these corners. And Tony really starting to feel that loose condition now. Cedric Hunter, I'm sure, is feeling the same. Just has not affected him as much as it would have somebody else. Mark McFadden out of the pits on new tires behind those guys. And again, these guys are going to try to make it here another couple more laps just to get to halfway. As we are working the halfway mark right now, lap 60. A little bit further in the back of the field here, this is Christian Vasquez working on Logan Jones in the 23. Jones has been steadily moving backwards here as of late. Ben Bando has been steadily working forward. Has gotten around Greg McConey for the 4th position. And now Tony Ball has come into pit road. So Tony makes it exactly halfway. Knows what he has to do now. Zach Bowerman also in pit road in the number 9. So the 8 and the 9 both pitting here. That will leave Cedric Hunter out in front alone. These guys only running about a second off of where they were on fresh tires, so there isn't too much of a difference, but Hunter will come in to cover him off. Here comes Ben Bando, pardon me, in the number 2. Greg McConey stays out to lead a lap in the 12. So now McConey current race leader. You can see Tony Ball coming out of pit road right there. Throw the track map up. Look at the number 8 and look down there at the bottom for the number 13. You can see him hazed out just a little bit. 71 going past him right now. See where the 8 comes out in comparison to the 13 of Cedric Hunter. Hunter is out of pit road. See where they both are on the racetrack. There they both are. And Tony is going to get the advantage on Cedric Hunter. And quite an advantage at that. Still gaining time as Ryan Worley, your current race leader, should be coming into pit road now, I would assume. Yes, he is. Scott Warren has already come in and fit new tires. And on that outlap, Tony doing the fastest lap of the race at a 30.27. And now holds a 2.7 second advantage over the 13. So the undercut, it works here. Jason Papp in the number 1. Quite a significant amount of front end damage, as a matter of fact, on that number 1. Has led a lap and will now slide his way into pit road, and in about 13 seconds will surrender the lead back to this man who has dominated pretty much from the time we got off of the Daytona Oval. Got onto the road course, and he has been lights out ever since. Nicholas Wing getting put a lap down. Cedric Hunter has actually closed the gap a little bit. And around goes Vasquez. Into the wall, Christian Vasquez. He's able to hold on to the car. We stay green in the 86, but that was a big slide for Vasquez. And I think he's going to come in now. Yep, he's going to off the racing surface, and he will come in to fix that front end damage. And actually, he's just going to pull it over. So that's 2 of the 4 Dream Team Incorporated entries here tonight, no longer participating in the race. Here is the second right now, currently battling with Brandon Wilson in the 501. That is not for position between those two. Bando's next spot to gain is Scott Warren, some 3 seconds ahead. So the pit cycle has certainly created some intrigue. Big spread throughout the field. And a lot to do. Still have half of this race to go. You're watching the Rowdy Energy Cup Series season right here. Round number 4 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway right here on ESPN. Don't go anywhere. Tonight's broadcast of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series season has been brought to you, or is being brought to you, by diecastnuts.com. Post your own diecast collection and add or trade to it in the shop, and see other members' collections at diecastnuts.com and on Facebook at diecastnuts. And by Rocket Racing Setups. Rocket Racing Setups is one of the leading setup builders for the iRacing community. Find dirt and asphalt setups, tuning guides, fuel sheets, and much more at rocketracingsetups.com today. Tonight's race is also brought to you by the series sponsors Rowdy Energy, Circle B Diecast, Midwest Motor Customs, iRacing iFlag, and Butt Kicker. And the series would like to thank you for your continued support. Working lap number 75 of 120. There is the gap between first place Tony Ball and second place Cedric Hunter. That gap has come down quite considerably since the green flag cycle of pit stops has ended. It was about 3 seconds. It has now come down to roughly 1.5 seconds between the two. One guy who has not had a lot of fun on this new set of tires is Scott Warren. Now, Scott Warren came in back on lap 54. Everybody else came in about 6 or 7 laps later than he did. And you saw there during the break him getting passed by both Ben Bando and Zach Bowerman. And the 76 now starting to fall backwards. Ryan Worley and Logan Jones locked in battle here. This would be for the 7th position between these two cars. A little bit further behind them, J.D. Woodward and Jeff Price battling for the 9th spot. Connor Trafari right there as well. Battling for the 9th position. Still no cautions yet here today. Again, as we had mentioned before the break, there has not been a caution since the final green-white checkered attempt in the first race of the season. We have been caution-free since then, as Trafari has a big moment coming out of turn 4. Ryan Worley and Logan Jones still battling it out for 5th. See off the back end of Worley's Rowdy Energy number 00. Looking back at Logan Jones. Try to spread things out a little bit here. Tony Ball now maintaining a 1.7 second advantage over Cedric Hunter. Now, these guys were inseparable early on during the race, and just before the pit cycle had started, Cedric Hunter had actually taken over the race lead after Tony had a big slide coming through turn 2. After the pit stop cycle, however, he has fallen well back as the driver of the 13. One driver that has moved well up has been this man, the driver of the number 2, Ben Bando. Started in 23rd after coming in just prior to the start of the event. Did not put a qualifying time in, started 23rd, and has moved his way into the 3rd position. And right now, currently maintaining what is a 7.5 second gap up to Cedric Hunter. Now, one gap that he is continuously increasing is his gap back to 4th position, Zach Bowerman. Bowerman came into pit on lap 60. Same with Tony Ball. Came out in the 4th position. Got passed by Ben Bando, has gotten around Scott Warren, and now resides in that 4th position. Speaking of Scott Warren, there he is in the number 76, running in the 5th position. Warren was the first of the leaders to come into pit road on lap 54. That did not necessarily work out for him there, as you see the pit strategy there on the bottom of your screen. Warren came out of the pit cycle in third, has since lost third and fourth. Sitting 2.7 seconds behind him is the driver of the number 12, Greg McConey. McConey has had a very solid and very quiet day in that number 12, hanging around the top 5 the entirety of the race. However, has not been able to crack it except for just a fleeting second. Right behind him is his Dudes Racing teammate, Ryan Worley, in the 00. Ryan Worley up 8 positions from where he started today's race. Worley, another one of those guys we've been looking at quite a bit here recently. As far as drivers moving up behind him, Logan Jones, who has been hanging around right around that top 5, top 10 all race long. Go a further 7 seconds behind this trio, and you'll find riding all alone is Jeff Price in the number 14. We saw Jeff Price battling just before the pit cycle in that number 14. He has since found himself alone on this racetrack. 7 seconds to the next car in front of him, 5.5 seconds to the next car behind him, who is Aaron Tribble. And these guys here are having quite the fight, as boy, they are 4 wide, and boy, that's Posey in the grass trying to get away right in front of the race leader. Well, those guys were 3 wide battling for position while the race leader was coming up on them, and Posey still has not gotten this car sorted out. Almost took out second place. And boy, that 83 has just had a mare of a lap. And he's going to keep it on the racetrack. Let's take a look at this sequence of events here. As this is the battle here, this is into turn 3. There you see the 8, the leader. 48 gets really loose. Tony just trying to get out of the way. Almost gets his nose chopped off by the 83. 83 gets loose. On the apron. Then it starts to settle out, but then see Posey still doesn't have the car collected. Here comes the 13 running in second. Still hasn't got it sorted, and boy, that looked a lot closer on the live shot than it did there. But Shane Posey having quite a moment. I'm sure a situation that Tony wasn't all that happy about. Did allow Cedric Hunter to catch up just a little bit, but now Hunter has to get through the traffic that Tony has already navigated through. There's J.D. Woodward on the outside getting lapped. See there's the 90 of Nicholas Wing and Joe Gautier. Nicholas Wing running in the 18th position right now. He was running in 12th prior to the run of green flag pit stops. But a pit road speeding penalty held him on pit road for an extra 40 seconds. So he finds himself right now as the last car running, currently in the 18th position. Joe Gautier, who would have been for position, is now running in the 15th position on the lead lap. Or pardon me, 1 lap down. We have had at least 4 retirements here tonight. Christian Vasquez, after making contact with the turn 2 wall, called it an evening. Landon Lacey had a moment as well in that number 53. Javon Cherry got body slammed by the 53 of Landon Lacey after Lacey got loose coming out of turn 2, sent Javon down to the inside wall. And Cruz Hernandez Jr., who got loose and wrecked with Elijah Innes back on lap number 2. Scott Warren continues to fall backwards in that number 76. McConey has gotten around him. Now Ryan Worley looking to the inside. And Worley does not quite have the move done just yet. You can hear Worley having to back out of it there really quick. Trying to get that back end under control. And Landon Lacey, or pardon me, Logan Jones in the 23. Getting around him as well. So Scott Warren came in on lap 54. Not helping himself there all that much with that decision. Worley now with Logan Jones all over his back bumper in the number 23. Brandon Wilson, a Dudes Racing teammate to both the 12 and the 00. Wilson currently running in the 16th position. All of the Dudes Racing cars and affiliate cars running a variant of the main Rowdy Energy car that Jason Papp is running tonight, running in 12th. And boy, J.D. Woodward just had a big moment coming out of turn 2. Really had to save the car. Used every inch of that runoff. And is able to get the position as Jason Papp just passed him not that long ago. So the 11 car really feeling the loose condition in his car right now as Shane Posey gets up to the back of him. Aaron Tribble and Connor Trafari battling for what would be 10th. Now we saw Tribble up earlier leading this race. A little bit of contact between him and Landon Lacey. Sent the 66 through the grass. Put him well back in the field. J.D. Woodward has brought it into pit road. Ryan Worley and Logan Jones still locked in combat for the 6th position. Not missing anything up front. Tony Ball currently has a 2-second lead over Cedric Hunter. There's Hunter right now getting passed by Mark McFadden, who has been in and out of pit road. So we hit 22 laps to go. The question's starting to become who or what can stop Tony Ball at this point. Next week, we go to our first short track of the season. That would be Phoenix. And boy, we've seen some great racing at Phoenix lately. 110 laps at Phoenix Raceway. Then we'll do 100 laps at Atlanta before a week off on the 29th, last Sunday in March. Then after the return, it is Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond before we hit Talladega. And again, that race at Bristol could be very intriguing depending upon what this series decides to do with the new dirt layout coming out. Jones and Worley still battling tooth and nail here. And boy, Logan Jones has a huge moment coming out of turn 2. seen that all night, and we've seen these guys time and time again able to recover and save the car. Logan Jones once again right there. Caution right now would really spice things up. Tony has a 2.3 second lead and growing. He's about to get passed by Mark McFadden, who again is on fresher tires. So McFadden goes around the race leader. Cedric Hunter running by himself right now. Then another 9 seconds behind him is the driver of the number 2 Hulu Ford, Ben Bando. Ben has about 3.5 seconds back to Zach Bowerman, who finished third last week. Greg McConey rounding out the top 5, another 6 seconds behind Bowerman. Closest battles on track really are Ryan Worley, Logan Jones, and Scott Warren. This battle for 6th that we've been watching. Also Aaron Tribble and Connor Trafari. These two have been duking it out for a while. As we come down to almost 15 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Jeff Price currently running in the 9th position, about to be put a lap down. And it was really the green flag pit cycle that opened this race up. We saw in the first stint that Ball and Hunter were pretty much on top of each other the entire run, and even now still running almost identical lap times. Tony has been quicker, but not by much. Less than 1/10 each time. Then, as we said, the pit stop cycle really spread these two apart. For Tony, it's been business as usual here over these last couple of weeks. Trafari now putting Aaron Tribble under pressure. Jason Papp looming in the background there in that number 1. Shane Posey behind him. What would be the battle for the final spot inside the top 10? 13 laps to go, and sitting just behind these guys is the 3rd place runner Ben Bando, who now has Shane Posey to contend with. Elijah Innes is back out on the racetrack. His night was turned upside down on lap 2. The man who won the season opener in the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series never really had a chance tonight after getting caught up with Cruz Hernandez Jr. on lap number 2. Ever since then, it's been Innes just trying his best to hold on. Christian Vasquez, Landon Lacey, Javon Cherry, and Cruz Hernandez. The 4 retirements here tonight. Go back to this battle for 10th between Tribble, Trafari, and Papp. Tribble seems intent on running that inside line, and in this situation for Tribble, that line can work for him. Because he doesn't have anyone on his outside to block him off, to block that run off the corner away. And with Tribble getting loose there, that could really open the door now for Trafari in the 48. Tribble has his line, though. He's been running the middle in 1 and 2. The bottom in 3 and 4. And he has been quite good coming out of turn 2. And now Trifari finds himself in a position to where Pap is closer to his rear than he's closer to Tribble. See the gaps there between the two. Just 0.2 between the 48 and the 1, about 3.5 between 22 and the 48. Ben Bando running in third, looming behind this group. No positive or negative here. It looks like Trifari's going to come into pit road. He is. So Trifari, who is one of the guys that came in early today, is going to have to come in. Which that immediately turns the cameras to Scott Warren, and yep, he's in. The guys up at the front, really, and boy, Warren's had an issue. You see the right rear damage on that number 76. The guys up at the front don't really have an issue. Those guys either pit at or just beyond halfway. So those guys really don't have an issue. As both Warren and Trifari in and out. Should not need another pit stop here tonight. And with those two pitting, that now promotes Jason Papp up into the 10th position, Aaron Tribble into 9th. '76 of Scott Warren now. Oh, this could get close as Warren on fresh tires. Same thing with J.D. Woodward on fresher tires than anyone around him right now. Except for Warren, and that almost got really close. Between this group, again, the two not racing for position. The 2 is in third place right now. And he's got a 3-second gap back to the 9 as we have 4 to go. 2 now just trying to get around the lap car of Papp and will. As the closest battle for position right now is between Shane Posey and Jason Papp right now. Boy, and there's a lot of lap traffic now for Ben Bando to try to negotiate, and does successfully. Papp able to hang with the 2, at least at this moment he is. No pit road penalties to report for either Warren or Trifari, who both came in here just a couple of laps ago. Start working 3 to go. Now, Zach Bowerman, you can see some damage on his right front. A little crease there in the right front fender. This boy Trifari really loose up in front of him. My goodness. See that is now he's going to have to contend with all of this lap traffic. But right now, as we come out of turn 4, he had a good car at Daytona. Unfortunately, got caught up in a couple of late race accidents that put him outside of the top 10. Ever since then, however, it has been dominant performance after dominant performance after dominant performance. Took 2 out of the 3 races in his home state of Florida, and now heads out west into Vegas and takes the win. Tony Ball wins 3 in a row, winning at Las Vegas. 3 out of 4 to start the year. Tony Ball, who is new to the iRacing East Series this season, has certainly stamped his mark of authority. And that 29-point lead he had coming into tonight is only going to grow. Not by much, though, because the man he's battling, Cedric Hunter, comes home in second. Ben Bando crosses the line in third for his first podium of the season in just his second race. Ben did not have the greatest of runs at Daytona for the 500. And we will now here momentarily be waiting for the top three, as what is starting to become a weekly occurrence is Tony Ball and a race win. Tony, 3 in a row, at least the first half of tonight. You really had to work for this one.
Yeah, it was fun. I was saving my tires, and then I'm sure you noticed at the end of the first one, right before pit stops, I fell right off, and I think my right rear was going down. I ran that thing down to the rim, but it was a fun race.
Now, you, as you said, you were saving your tires up. How bad did that loose condition get for you? I know it's something that everybody was facing tonight, but it seemed like some handled it better than others, and especially on that second run, it certainly did not seem to affect you.
Oh no, the track on the second run, it was a completely different track from run 1 to run 2. By the end of that run, I mean, I was rattling off times. That thing was on rails. I mean, the track temp had gone down to about 94 degrees, about 10 degrees lower than what it was. On top of all the grip we were putting on it, it didn't matter what your tires were. I don't even know what they are right now, but I was flying.
Well, they're on the car, and that's about all that matters now. We're staying out west next week, headed to Phoenix, the first short track race of the season. What are your thoughts going into a very tricky track in Arizona?
Well, I'm disappointed that I don't have a week of official racing to kind of grind it out and figure out the track. Phoenix isn't my best or my favorite, but I'm excited for the car package because it's my favorite car package. So I'll be running laps. I'll be getting it down, but I'll probably stay in Vegas for a few more days. Gotta place a couple more bets. That tournament's getting started.
It certainly is. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the sponsors: Rowdy Energy, Circle B Diecast, all the guys who helped put this together: Greg, Jason, all my teammates, Damon, who wasn't able to make it here tonight, Christian, Ben had a good run. He got P3, finally was able to get a race that put it all together. Christian had some bad luck. Javon had some bad luck there in the straightaway. But yeah, just all my teammates, and thank you guys for putting on a good broadcast.
All right, thank you very much. 3 out of 4, not a bad start to the season. Tony Ball, your winner again here in Las Vegas.
Yep.
All right, so there was your race winner, Tony Ball. We'll get a word in with Cedric Hunter here in just a moment, as he had another great race tonight, just could not quite get it together. As we now bring in our second place finisher tonight, Cedric Hunter. Cedric, second place again. You were a heck of a lot closer this time than you were last week. Great racing in the first half of the race. It just seemed like the pit stop is what really did you in tonight.
Yeah, last week was a big mistake on pit road, kind of missing my pit box, sliding through it tonight. I feel like it was maybe just either pitting that extra lap or too easy on pit entry. I'd have to go back, but it definitely seems like a common problem with me is I need to work on my pit road.
Tony had mentioned just a second ago that it was essentially a completely different racetrack from the first run to the second run. Did you feel more comfortable on that second run? Because we saw you really take a second and a half out of Tony's lead after the pit stop, and then you just kind of hung around the 2 second mark. How did the track feel for you on that new set of tires?
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that thought about that, because I think with when he started pulling away from me, if I'm not mistaken, with probably like 10 laps to go, I was kind of telling myself that like it feels like it feels so much different from the first run to the second. Which at first I thought could have just been me maybe pushing it too hard. Because like you said, I kind of closed the gap, and I that might have been the problems. I might have just pushed a little bit too hard on the short run. Um, it's really tough to tell. I know that the first run, for the most part, when we were battling, I was lifting a lot, and whenever he was in front of me, I was kind of taking that opportunity to stay in his draft and save tires. So that could have been it. Um, the way that the first run played out, though, definitely was my favorite one. The car felt a lot better. Unfortunately, with that second run, at the end of the run, I just the car wouldn't want to turn anymore, which kind of makes me. I haven't seen my tires and everything like that, but I'm guessing that I probably cooked the right front.
Now we go to the tracks, just keep getting shorter here. We go to our first short track of the season next week at Phoenix Raceway, a very difficult track to get right. What's your confidence level going into Phoenix next week?
Very low. Phoenix is not a track that I've been good or that I'm good at statistically. Normally in other leagues and stuff like that, I come home with decent finishes, but I don't do it in clean fashion. So I'm probably gonna struggle. I'm still hoping to get a top three and kind of keep that podium run alive. But we'll see. I don't think I don't expect to come home with a win or contend for a win. But I mean, anything can happen. So hopefully for me, it isn't one of Tony's best tracks either, and then we can kind of produce a sloppy race that allows me to get a win. We'll see. Anything could happen.
All right. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
So I want to give a huge shout out to my race team, Category 5 Esports. I want to thank you guys in the broadcast booth for everything that you guys do. I can't wait to go back and watch it later tonight. I want to thank all the drivers and league owners for allowing me to come here and do my thing. I want to thank also all the series sponsors, Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, Butt Kicker, iRacing, iFlags, and Midwest Motor Customs for helping produce a series. We've had 2 races back to back that have been, caution free, and it's really, really cool to see. Hopefully, we can come home with a better finish next week.
All right. Your second place finisher again this week. Third, second in the last 3 weeks. Cedric Hunter, congratulations. So there was your second place finisher here tonight, Cedric Hunter. In just a moment here, we'll get our third place finisher just running in his second race this season. That would be Ben Bando. And we are in now with the driver of the number 2. And you certainly made it exciting for yourself. Came in right at the end of qualifying. Didn't put in a qualifying lap. Started 23rd and drove that thing right up to a third place finish.
Hey Frank, how's it going?
Good.
We got off to a bad start there. We lost connection right before the race. We missed qualifying. We got in right at the start of the race, and my goal was just to, get a feel for the car, see what it's doing, see how it's driving that first run. And we made some good progress. Didn't really have any close calls. Was fairly uneventful, but that's exactly what we needed, was a long run. I feel like that was the strength for me. So in the end, it ended up working out pretty well.
It just seemed like you were able to make that inside line work so much better than everybody else. Now, around here, typically it's the outside line that carries the momentum and carries the speed. You really were able to make that inside line work. How was it down there tonight?
The inside, you really had to back it up. If you slightly overdrove at all, you were sliding up. But I was asking my teammate Tony, who was leading most of the race, what he was doing, and he told me to to try and run the inside line, and I think it definitely saves tires down there. Everybody's running high, so you kind of got to go down there to pass. So that definitely made it easier getting through the field. But I also realized towards the last like 10, 15 laps, when I moved up to the high line, I gained some speed and it felt a little faster. But yeah, definitely early on in that run, you need to back up your corners, stay low, and I think that's what gives you the best chance in the long run.
It certainly gave you a great run here tonight. We head to Phoenix next week. What are your thoughts going into the first short track of the season?
For short track, that'll definitely be interesting. I have not been to Phoenix in a long time, so I'm not too sure what to expect. But that's definitely going to be a game changer from what it's been. Going to have to be using more brake. Field's going to be tighter. Um, you're definitely going to have to watch out for Phoenix. Be an interesting race.
Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Just you guys for doing the race and all my teammates over at Dream Team.
All right, your third place finisher tonight, Ben Bando, after starting 23rd on the field, drives it up to a podium. Congratulations.
Thanks, bud.
All right, so that will conclude the interview portion of the evening, and yet again another full green flag race here that this series produces. Again, just it's been incredible the racing that we've seen here from this series since we left Daytona. It's been unbelievable to watch. And as Ben really alluded to there just before we let him go, it's going to be a lot closer of a race at Phoenix, and it'd be really impressive if these guys can get out of there without a caution. But however, I think we all know what could be coming at Phoenix in a week's time. But before we head to Phoenix, we must wrap up some business here at Las Vegas, and that would be the results here for tonight's race. Tony Ball takes his third victory in the first four races of the season. Cedric Hunter comes home second. Ben Bando rounds out the podium positions. Zach Bowerman and Greg McConey round out the top five. Ryan Worley, Logan Jones, Jeff Price, Jason Papp, and Aaron Tribble round out the top 10 positions. Logan Jones, the last lead lap finisher here tonight, as Tony lapped up to 8th spot tonight. Shane Posey, Joe Gautier, Brandon Wilson, Scott Warren, and J.D. Woodward coming home from 11th to 15th. Nicholas Wing, Connor Trafari, Mark McFadden, Elijah Ennis, and Christian Vasquez, the top 20. Landon Lacey, Javon Cherry, and Cruz Hernandez Jr. rounding out the field. Vasquez, Lacey, Cherry, Hernandez did not finish this race. Trafari and Warren finishing as far back as they did after a late race pit stop. Pardon me, on laps 112 and 111, respectively, for the two. Coming up the remainder of this week here on ESPN. Tomorrow night will be the Western States Racing League at Lucas Oil Speedway at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. On Sunday night will be the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series from the road course at Daytona. Round number 5 of their season will kick off at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up this Thursday will be the final Thursday doubleheader, at least for a little while, as the USRA Cup Series runs their season finale at Charlotte Motor Speedway, with Randy Bechtel, the effective champion, really just having to start the race, depending upon how many drivers actually show up to the race. We had 18 last week for Pocono, and if that were to stay the same this week at Charlotte, that would mean Bechtel is the champion just by taking the green flag. However, if there is a big field, there is still a shot at it for Troy Torgerson coming the end of the season. Coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday will be the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series at Cedar Lake. That will be round number 6 of their season. Coming up on Friday night will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series from Talladega. On Saturday will be the Sim Racers Edge Bravo Series from Kentucky Speedway. And then on Sunday will be the Chris Cup Series round number 2 from round number 2 of the playoffs for them from Homestead Miami Speedway. So for everybody here at ESPN, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for watching us on YouTube tonight. And also, again, you can find us on Twitch now at Esports Broadcast Network, Esports Broadcast Network, not Broadcasting Network, Esports Broadcast Network on Twitch. You can find us there now. No longer on Facebook Live, unfortunately, but we will still be putting up the YouTube link on our Facebook page for every single race that we run here on ESPN. So with that being said, my name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and I will see you on Wednesday night for the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series, but we will be back coming up tomorrow night, 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time, from Lucas Oil Speedway for the Western States Racing League. Have a fantastic night, everybody.